Today we begin a new day of hobby streak. I start with this cup of coffee. I bought the good coffee, and it's got the cream and the sugar, and it's the fancy coffee. It might as well be dessert. I love it so much. I also went out and I got some Eschen Grey, the elusive Eschen Grey, and I got some of this Tesseract Glow. And apparently you put this over some white and it gets real bright. And I want to put that in that demon mouth. That demon mouth there. Let me turn my light on. So it's time to get real serious about this guy and start doing like the really real detail work to him. And I don't want to. I'm intimidated. And then I'm probably going to do the horns first because it's easier to clean flesh tone off black horns than it is to clean black off flesh tone. So we're going to do the horns first before the face. That might be where I start tonight. I might do those horns tonight. But first, I'm going to enjoy my very stellar cup of coffee, like literally best cup of coffee in the world. And then I got me some mighty fine grass, and it's a great day for some hobby. I couldn't be happier with life right now. I got coffee, grass, hobby, YouTube. What more could I want, honestly? What a nice day. So I'm doing the horns, and I'm using the Duncan Rhodes Games Workshop tutorial for Obsidian. Gonna put on the Stick It On Scale Green, darken it with Nuln Oil, highlight with Sotek Green, then put on more Nuln Oil, then spot highlights of Altheran Gray. I love a Duncan Rhodes tutorial. For some reason, Duncan Rhodes makes me feel at home and confident. And maybe that's why he got successful. Maybe he makes everybody feel at home and confident. All right, true believers. This is where I stop for the night. The final highlight of the Altheran Gray, I hated it. It was a little bit too much. So I did just a little bit of touch highlights with that Sotek Green at the end, and not much of it at all. And then the final step is hitting it with some Odd Coat. But I'm going to save that for the very end of the project. Is that all in focus? Let me do this. Let me go. Like that. Here we go. How you like that? Here we go. So, got a little bit buck wild in places. I like it though. I like it. I maybe could have done better in spots, but I like it. But this is where I call it a night. This was hobby streaking on Wednesday. Look at that bad man. Grr. See you tomorrow. Hobby streaking on Thursday, and I think that I'm going to do my best to get serious about this man's face. I got to touch up a little of the foundation, the Rakarth flesh around the horns. He's got like a goober here on the back of his head. Got to fix that. And then he's got this chaos star in the back of the head that I'm gonna have to do something with. Is it, evil energy? Is it a scar? Is it a burn? What is it? But anyway, it's face night. It's face night on Hobby Streak, and faces, they're always so hard. So he's not done. His face, is not done, but this is where I stop for the night. The part I'm not happy with is the chaos mark on the back of his head. I've messed with a couple different colors on it. I've repainted over it a couple of times, and it's just got me a little frustrated. So I'm just gonna call it a night and sleep on it and have a better idea tomorrow. He was Rakarth flesh, and then Pallid Witch flesh, and then Reikland flesh shade, and then Pallid Witch flesh, and then Dead White. And that was his skin. I got a couple of little white marks on his armor and his horns. Those will be easy touch-ups. But this is where I'm done for the night, and tomorrow I'll figure out what to do about the back of his head. But that's tomorrow. All right, it's hobby time again. I am a little cracked out. Weekends are not my jam. So I'm not going to do too much tonight. I still don't know what I'm doing about the scar on the back of his head. None of the colors I tried were working out. And I think I'm going to have to like mix something with a flesh tone. I don't know. Like maybe but his skin is so pale. Maybe like a Kislev flesh and red mix. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing there. Also, it's whenever you look at the model through the phone where you notice where all your little mistakes. But I'm not doing that tonight. I'm too cracked out tonight. I'm just gonna do something small and go to bed. I'm gonna do his little pouch there. Do I even need to do that? Can his pouch just be white? Can it just be white? I was thinking I would hit it with like some Guillemot flesh and try to make it look like leather, but I could just do any old contrast color. I have this Briar Queen chill that I just love. Does he need to have a blue bag? Why would the bag be blue? Why wouldn't the bag be blue? Maybe the bag is blue. What does that do for the overall model? Like if I just make it leather, is it just gonna blend in, just go away, not be seen? I mean, do I really care? It's just a bag. The hardest part is always the choices. I don't know what I'm going to choose, but I just want to do something small and go to bed. That's what I'm looking at. So it's not the most productive hobby night, but here's what I've done. I put some white on the bag, so when I do finally decide on a contrast paint to put over top of it, it'll have a little bit more depth. I also put some white in the mouth, but not on the edges, just in the middle. So there's, a little bit of gradient there. I know the eyes look terrible now. They'll get fixed. I touched up the bone on the horns over here. I also touched up the teeth. And then I got some black out, and I touched up black splotches just everywhere. So it's not the most productive or exciting hobby night, but it's all work that needed to get done. But I'm tired, dude. Weekends suck. Weekends don't suck. I'm grateful that I live in a safe place and I'm afforded the opportunity to work, but I work mostly on the weekends, and it makes me tired. All right, it's Saturday. I worked all day, and I got nothing. I got nothing for you beautiful people. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, but this is going to be lame. I'm going to put a contrast paint on that bag, and that is the one thing I'm going to do tonight. And then I'm going to bed. Hobby streak. Got to do one thing a day, and I try to do more than one thing a day. But today we're going to do just one thing, and then we're going to bed. We're going to put a contrast on that bag. My contrast selection is not deep, so we're going to go with the Briar Queen Chill, because I love it. All right, and that's for real all I'm doing tonight, but I'm happy with that choice. I really love that color. It makes the bag stand out rather than just blending in, but it also gives it kind of like a magic quality, like, there's something special in that bag. And the bag's just a small part of the model, but I'm happy with it. But that's it. I gotta go to bed. I have to. We'll try again tomorrow. All right, here I am, true believers. Gonna try to get some work in tonight. I faded last night. I'm not exactly at my best tonight. A headache. But we're gonna try. And what I want to do is I want to start working on the skin for the demon parts, the shoulder and the wrist guard, forearm guard, whatever you want to call it. But first, I think I have to put the green in before I start doing the flesh tones, and I'm a little intimidated by that. I put some dead white in the center here, and before I do the Tesseract Glow, I might want to touch all the edges with some Hex Wraith Flame to make it seem, darker on the insides, lighter on the, pardon me, darker on the outside, lighter on the inside. I'm intimidated though. I hate doing things that I haven't done before. Like things I've done before. Like if I'm painting the Star Hunters, man, I'll knock that out. I know how to do that. But this guy, I'm kind of experimenting as I go. Like I still don't know what I'm doing there. But anyway, we're gonna start with the green, and we're gonna see how we do. So I dotted the eyes, and I do have to, tidy up the skin around the eyes, and then the same thing happened over here. However, I did the inside of his mouth with, what's it called? Wraithbone. Wraithbone. I did the inside of his mouth with Wraithbone. Then I did the center of his mouth with like white. And then I touched just the very edges of the mouth, like the circle all the way around with Hexwraith Flame. And then I filled his mouth with the Tesseract Glow, and where it was white, it's turned to yellow. And now I gotta figure out, do I like that? Because I did want it to be like, brighter in the middle, but also that's brighter than I wanted, but it doesn't look bad. Maybe I should see how it looks after the teeth are painted. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with that yet. I'm just going to consider it. I might just play with that a little bit in a bit, but I really love the Tesseract Glow. Like that's a fun paint. I wish I had more uses for it. Okay, the night's progress so far. I have added the green to the inside of the demons. I gussied up the teeth. That's just some Ushanti bone. I'll still put some Screaming Skull on the teeth there and the teeth there. And then I got the Bugman's Glow back out and I cleaned up around the eyes. Then I got the Reichland Flesh shade out and I just kind of spotted it into some recesses. And now I'm waiting for that to dry. And that is where I am now. And, I feel all right. It's getting kind of late. But if this dries real quick, then I'm going to start layering up that demon skin. Okay, this first layer is Talarum Flesh, which I believe is currently called Cadian Flesh Tone. And I got it there. And I got it over here. And I already like the look of it. The next layer will be Kislev Flesh, and that's going to be more of a highlight step. And you read at that point you like it so much you don't want to do the next step. I like the way that looks. I don't want to do the next step, but I will. Am I going to? What time is it? Yeah, one more step. Just one more. All right, after the layer of Kislev Flesh, this is what it looks like. And I have one more highlight to put on it, and that's going to be Flayed One Flesh. But I'm going to save that for the final stage where he's mostly done, and I'm just kind of nitpicking at him, because that's just going to be little dots here and there. And so we're going to save that Flayed One Flesh. We're going to call the Demon Pauldrons done. I think I'm keeping the yellow in the mouth. I think that looks all right. And this is where I call it for the night. I will see you people again tomorrow. Hobby Streetkin. Hello, friends. This guy's coming right along, isn't he? Slow and steady wins the race. What am I doing tonight? I think it's time to tackle the blade. The problem with the blade is, can I get the blade to focus? There's a problem. It's got all that dedicated detail already chiseled in there that I'm gonna have to pick out. I'd love to do that thing where you run like the watered down white in there and then you hit it with like some watered down something else, like that Tesseract Glow, but I intend to go red here. I could go green, but I think it's time. No, I'm going red. Yeah, I gotta put a little thought into this. But first, I gotta clean up that base coat. I gotta put one more coat of Mephiston Red down. All right, it's time to experiment. So I'm going to talk about experimenting. See all those cracks in that sword? I should have turned my light on. See all those cracks there? I'm going to take some dead white. I'm going to make it real thin with Lamy medium. And don't ask me why I'm choosing Lamy medium. Like, maybe water's the better thing. I don't know. But then I'm going to try to get it just dropped in those cracks. And so I can put a brighter paint on top of it. I've never done this before. I think that when people do this, they probably use inks, which I do not have. So this is an experiment. I might just be setting myself back, but we're going to try it out. We're going to see if it works. All right, it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. It went bad. It went bad, and I'm going to have to do some nitpicky cleanup. And why am I doing this? Why? Oh, this was silly of me. And it went bad, and I'm going to stick with it, though. I'm going to get back to the red. I'm going to clean it up. And I think I'm going to do my regular red blade bit, but I'm going to leave that center and then hit it with that Tesseract glow and have some green glow in the center of the red blade. When you mix red and green, what does it make? Does it make purple? Right? If yellow and blue make green, then red and green are going to make a dark blue or a purple, right? That's color theory. But first I got to clean this up because that's a disgusting mess. Ew. All right, so I touched it up, and I only have the white in the recesses now. And then I'm gonna go and do my basic red power sword that I do for the Star Hunters. Come on, focus, man. That I do for the Star Hunters, and then I have a choice to make. I kept saying Tesseract Glow just because I fell in love with this paint yesterday, but I also have just some straight up yellow ink, which I think is probably the smarter choice. But I'll make that choice after I get the sword done. Well, I can't say I'm unhappy about it. I'm glad I went with the yellow ink. I thought it was the safer choice. And now that I see it, I'm happy with it as a choice. And this is where I call it a night. I'm not going to do anything else tonight. I'm going to go to bed now. I got to clean up the gold around the blade. He's getting to like almost Dunville. Crazy. Just crazy. Anyway, I'm going to bed. Yeah, I might end up being proud of him. We'll see. All right, happy Tuesday, hobby friends. And I'm in a weird spot now because now it's time to just start tightening some things up. A little bit brighter highlights here and there. Just some nitpickings. Specifically, I have to do an edge highlight on the black, on all the black armor, and that's going to take a while. That bone's got to be a little bit brighter. The teeth got to be a little bit brighter. The gold needs some fixins and spots. Yeah, there's not a lot to talk about. There's just a bunch of little stuff to do. That cape needs tightening up. Yeah, I'm just going to sit and tighten some stuff up, and I still have to make a decision about the back of the head, too. But he's getting there. I'm going to say he's almost done. So what have I done here? I brightened up the teeth. I put Eshin gray edge highlights on the armor. I mean, I nitpicked at a lot of little stuff. And although I could maybe call him done right now, I still haven't done the back of his head. So, but also I have a feeling that I'm going to sit and pick at him for like a while, because because he's got to be great. But this is where I call it a night. I will have to figure out the back of his head tomorrow, because that's the last official thing, and then after that, it's just what could be better, what could be better, and he's got to be good, because he has to be good, because he is for a friend, and he's got to be super cool. But I'm so far I'm happy though. I'm happy, but everything could be a little bit tighter, and I got to figure out the back of his head. But that is tomorrow. That is tomorrow.